Hello, everybody out there. Thank you so much for tuning in to Wish We Were Then. This is the show. It's been doomed to repeat history so that you may learn from it. Every week we go on a pop culture deep dive into a specific year from the past and tell you about all the stuff that happened, all the wonderful, wonderful things that occurred, and some of the not so wonderful things that occurred. Usually keep that up at the front. So if you get bummed out right away, don't worry. It's front loaded with misery. We hook you with something shitty, and then we'll move on to like something cool later. Not to say this isn't going to be cool up top. You just sit and wait. Don't just stop judging us, Larry. God damn. My name is Trey, and this is my friend Mark. How are you?
Doing great, man. I am really excited and proud of us for this milestone that we've gotten through. This is our 52nd episode, and we've done it every week. So it marks 1 year for Wish We Were Then.
Yes, this is the end of our first year. We were like trying to figure that out. We're like, is 52 our year anniversary? It's like, no, 53 is. I feel like most podcasts kind of go at 52, we've done a year. And it's like, well, you've done a year, but next week is our anniversary.
Yes.
1 year of talking about 1 year every week. That's a good. Also, my birthday is tomorrow.
Happy birthday, man. All around.
Thank you. Yes, happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to me. My birthday will have passed by the time this episode comes out. So if you want to, you could still send me gifts out there. If you want to, look me up on Instagram. Or just to Wish We Were Then. You send us some new equipment or whatever the fuck you want. I'll take anything. I'm very, very, very excited. Very happy that we were able to do this, to stick to our guns. There were a couple of times where I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell Mark, let's fucking pack it all in. Or just, coming out with an episode every week. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of editing to do, a lot of recording, a lot of research. So I am proud of us. I'm proud of you, Mark.
We did it together. We wish we were then, Trey.
It's true. Couldn't be wish I was then.
Yeah.
Wish I were then. See, then the grammar just gets all fucked up, and you don't want to fall into that. Only works with two people. Well, what year are we going to talk about for our 52nd episode of the year? Well, for so long in this country, Americans were forced to eat healthy, all naturally occurring foods. They were subjected to using non-abrasive. They were subjected to using non-abrasive cleaning products around their homes. But that would start to change this year as we would be introduced to the fabulous world of chemicals. That's right. Soon, chemicals are going to be all over your grocery store shelves and in your very home, in your refrigerator, the food you feed to your family, the products you use to clean your house and keep them safe, all are going to be made so much better with fabulous, fabulous chemicals. See what the world of chemicals can do for you as we take a look at the year 1957. Well, something would happen here in the United States in 1957 to try to make things more consistent based on the color of your skin, because the Civil Rights Act of 1957 was passed this year, but not without a lot of opposition, mostly coming from Southern Democratic states where there was still very, into segregation. So they kind of knew, like Johnson knew LBJ. He knew that they weren't going to be able to get this thing passed with the way it was initially set up. Mostly it was focusing in on voters' rights because people were being turned away at the polls, being intimidated, all that kind of stuff. This was like the initial version of the bill was going to make it so those types of crimes, basically civil rights crimes, but mostly related to the voting, people would be prosecuted without a trial. And so that was a big provision that they needed to put in there because he knew that wasn't going to pass with all of those Southern Democrats who were totally for segregation. And so they kind of had to guarantee a trial by jury for all of people who broke this act, which then all of the arguments against that were like, well, it's going to be in a Southern court filled with white jurors who are going to find the person not guilty. So many critics and everything called this a toothless version of the bill as it was initially supposed to be passed, but it would lead on to a lot of other civil rights acts throughout the 60s and everything to kind of go through. So this sort of paved the way for that.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. Vice President Nixon, as he was leaving, because even though he was conservative, he was for a lot of those policies. He felt like that mostly the Republicans were it was still kind of split. A majority of people did vote it in on both party lines, but it was closer than you would kind of hope for,
Yeah.
After the vote ended, Nixon said, "This is one of the saddest day in the history of the Senate. It was a vote against the right to vote." And then this is the big kind of, this is like the more interesting part of this. Like it's always just this is just kind of shitty bummer news. Like why would you even bring this up if it didn't really help anybody out? Because Strom Thurmond went on to prove himself the biggest piece of shit ever in the Senate because he was a Democrat from South Carolina. He filibustered for 24 hours and 18 minutes in order to try to keep this from passing. It's the longest filibuster in the history of the U.S.
Jeez.
Over a day long of just being there, being like, I don't like black people, essentially is what he was saying. He read the election laws from every state in alphabetical order.
Oh my gosh.
And then after he was done with that, he read from the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and George Washington's farewell address. So he was just, I don't know.
Filibustering.
Yeah,
killing time.
I know I've heard people like read from cookbooks and shit like that while they're up there, and it just, yeah, it's ridiculous. What a stupid thing that's able to be.
It's like if I can just have one more day, just one more day.
They even like kept people from adjourning by bringing cots in, so all the Senate members could sleep during the middle of this as he just rambled on for forever. Like what an asshole.
Seriously.
It was passed though and signed into law on September 9th of 1957. And the thing that it kind of did do was established the Commission on Civil Rights, who had the responsibility of investigating, reporting on, and making recommendations concerning civil rights. So a committee was put together. There were people put in charge of making sure this stuff happened. It did lead to them like kind of enforcing Brown versus the Board of Education, which had occurred a couple years prior. So it went on to, again, pave the way. Like you said, got to start somewhere, make a bunch of concessions. But now, like the starting block is a little more forward than it was last time. So
yeah.
I have one other little tiny news thing. Not really news, but this was just cool to me that this happened this year. It's a product that came out, but I couldn't really fit it into any other section. So I just thought I'd leave this at the news. It's noteworthy. It definitely makes you think of the 1950s. The pink flamingo, the lawn plastic flamingos came out. Yeah, it came out in 1957.
That's awesome.
It was created by a guy named Don Featherstone. I was like, it's funny that he made those feathers out of plastic and not out of stone. Don Featherstone. He changed his name, Don Feather Plastic. But yeah, they were they're an iconic image of a 1950s kitsch house.
Yep.
And just trashy stuff, It's like that movie Pink Flamingos by John Waters based on this. And then I don't know if you ever had that thing happen to you. It was something like kids in youth group would do, or I guess like sports teams and shit, where like during the 90s and 2000s, you'd go to someone's house in the middle of the night and put pink flamingos all over their yard.
I don't remember this. No.
It was like a thing. We did it to like my pastor or something like that. Yeah, it's just
That's funny.
A harmless little prank. But yeah, pink flamingos, the icon of the 1950s. So that was cool. That came out in 57.
Yeah, you think about like any old movie, and they're always in the front yards, like Edward Scissorhands or something. Just
exactly.
Reminds me of that.
Yeah,
like...
it's like I thought of like I don't even know if it's in there, but my mind went to in Little Shop of Horrors, where she does the Someplace That's Green, and they have like the house from Better Homes and Gardens magazine, and I kind of just remember there being pink flamingos in the yard. I don't know if it really was, but yeah, and like the kind of not satirical, but yeah, like when they would be the movies from the 70s, 80s, 90s, like when they're harkening back to that old 50s ideal, you always just have the pink flamingos lying around. I don't know if I've ever seen them like in a 50s thing. That's always just like kind of reminiscent of that era.
Yeah, it's true. I got a good like transition into the food world.
Cool.
Idaho, for the first time, would outsell Maine in potato sales.
Wow.
So those wasn't even a cliche at this point.
That's crazy. That actually is pretty wild. Yeah, when you said Idaho, I was like, it's gonna be about potatoes if we're going into the food world. But damn, I didn't even know Maine made potatoes.
Right.
Well, back then was Idaho like the leading seller of lobsters, and they switched off. These lobsters are fucking gross, but these potatoes are great. Damn, that's wild. They're like it's like one of those things where they're always like, made with these French fries are made from fine Idaho potatoes, and you're like, yeah, where the fuck else would you get them? Maine?
Yeah. Vermont, frickin' idiot. Oh wait.
A couple just candies that hit our shores. Well, first Swedish Fish came out in 57.
They swam over here, hit our shore.
They were from a Swedish company who like wanted to promote their culture here in the U.S. So it's like it feels like it'd be an American thing to be like, Swedish people, they like fish, right? But Swedish people are like, we got to show them how much we like fish, you know. They're, you know, I don't care for Swedish fish. Actually, I used to dislike them a lot when I was a kid. I was like, these barely have any flavor to them. Now that I'm older, I'm like, that's about as much gummy flavor as I really want if I'm having more than one piece, you know.
I don't like Swedish fish. I don't understand I love gummy candies, but those ones are not the best.
No, they're a weird consistency. They are, like I said, very subdued flavor.
Kind of like hard on the outside a little bit.
Yeah. The more we talk about them, my mouth is watering. I love these things. One thing that would hit our shores for the first time, but these were invented a lot earlier. Kit Kats came to the U.S. They actually were started in 1935 in England.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, been around for a long, long time. They were from a company called Roundtrees, who then sold all their interests and blah, blah, blah. So it's interesting. In the U.S., Kit Kat's made by Hershey's, but everywhere else in the world, they're made by Nestle.
Interesting.
Yeah. They just sold their rights in a weird way that allowed that to occur. And I think I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of like Japanese candy stores and the Kit Kat aisle that they have. And it's like,
oh, I've seen insane. Japanese, like they have like a whole snack place out here designated to it.
Oh yeah. They have like such interesting flavors of also like chips. Like I know they have Lay's that are like crazy flavors. I had a place down the street that would sell like the, you know, like shrimp flavor and like American barbecue, but it was like a picture of meat on there. It wasn't like barbecue sauce.
Or they have like turkey leg flavor.
Yeah.
It's so random.
That's how it is like with the Kit Kats out there. You just see there'll be like a million different flavors. You're like, why don't they do that here? I'd try more than like here. They're just like, do you guys want one that's like white chocolate? That's about as far as they'll get. I'm sorry if you don't like this. Out there, there's like, let's make one flavored, I don't know, like honey or like green tea or
matcha. I've seen a bunch of different ones. Yeah.
Pepperoncinis or something like that. You know, some wild flavors over there. Bring those over here. But they can't because Nestle's in control of the weird flavored chocolate, I guess.
Maybe.
Hershey's is like, we just do chocolate. We do that well, so we'll stick to that.
All right, I got something that's pretty big in the food world. The Whopper would hit Burger King's shelves. Countertops in their bags. I don't know.
In the countertops, the tables, all over the place.
They don't know what to
hit
do
the walls.
Whoppers. It came out in Gainesville, Florida, at a Burger King.
Yeah. It was actually because there was another restaurant, like a local restaurant in Gainesville, was selling bigger hamburgers than they had, and like the manager there was like, it must be the size. So he just immediately was like, we got to make a bigger burger. So they made a bigger one than that restaurant had. And so he named it the Whopper because it sounded big, 37 cents back then, equal to $4.34 now. Which, actually, they have good deals going on where I can get a Whopper for less than that now. Not 37 cents, but less than the equivalent on Whopper Wednesdays on the app. Everyone go download the Burger King app. I absolutely love that app. You get like $3.50. I actually had a Whopper yesterday.
Not sponsored. I haven't had Burger King in years, man. It's been
most people don't love them. They kind of they did a Domino's, where just this last year they were like, listen, we know we fucking suck. We get it. And so they came out and said that. Well, Burger King was like, we're sorry for being shitty for the last couple of years. So they changed the Whopper, they didn't like change it up, but they just, they're like, we're going to use real nice, good mayonnaise now. We're going to make sure everything's fresh. We're going to put it in a nice box so it doesn't get crushed up. And every time I go, it's always like, yes, this is great. Best hamburger I have in fast food these days.
All right, I'll try it. I'll give it another try.
They had a plain bun initially. This I thought was interesting. And I was like, should I talk about this in 63? I'm not going to bring up the Whopper thing again. I'll just remember it here. The Whopper Jr. was invented in 1963 in Puerto Rico. The first restaurant, the first Burger King there, the owner of it, and now he's the CEO and president of Burger King Puerto Rico, probably from his ingenuity here. The restaurant was set to open up, but the buns for the Whopper, like the proprietary molds, had not shown up yet from the U.S. So he just went down to the local store and bought buns, but they were smaller. And he was like, well, I'm not going to not open up the store. So he just made smaller versions of Whoppers. And then they started selling really well. And the company was like, we're going to make these an official thing and call them Whopper Juniors. Like, The idea was that you would eat a big burger, and they're like, well, let's just make them smaller. And the Burger King was like, genius.
That's awesome.
And I guess actually the size of them and stuff, they like upped it in 1984, I want to say, something like that. And they put it to like a Kaiser roll instead of a regular a hamburger bun. But they've since, like, the next president who came in, like, in America, the next president came in and
That's the next president of America.
Nixon was like, oh, these hamburgers are too big. But no, in the 80s or something like that, they made them larger. Then the new Burger King got a new president, and he was like, go back to the old size. We don't need to be giving people this much hamburger. And then they also switched it back from the Kaiser rolls. So they actually are pretty much the same now as they were when they came out, except for now they have sesame seeds.
You think Nixon had small hands like those commercials?
This can't stand.
Kentucky Fried Chicken began selling buckets of chicken.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This was created by the Colonel himself, Colonel Harlan Sanders, and Pete Harmon, which was his first franchisee.
He doesn't get a lot of the glory. I feel like it's not a name I'm familiar with. Well, he wasn't a decorated service member. That's probably why.
Yeah, if he had a cool, title to go along with his name, maybe he would have been a little more memorable.
Admiral Harmon and Colonel Sanders.
You got 15 pieces of chicken, a pint of gravy, and biscuits. And I actually saw a very early advertisement, which was pretty cool, for Harmon's Cafe in Utah. Oh, so I'm sure this was before they were franchisees or so. No, like a collaboration of sorts, I guess, at the time.
Yeah, like when you go to a deli or something, and it'll be like, we sell boar's head meats.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what am I coming to you for? I could buy that at the store. What are you doing?
15-piece buckets, though,
Yeah. No, that makes sense. The boar's head thing, I still, every time I go in, I'm like, well, I'm not going to eat here. I mean, I get that the ham has, you guys didn't slaughter this yourself or whatever, but advertising that's a brand that I see at Ralph's or whatever, it makes me feel like I shouldn't be spending $20 on your sandwich. This was just like the idea of it being that many pieces all in one bucket was what.
Yeah, it was like a family meal. To be honest, not a KFC person, more like a Popeyes guy.
I like KFC, but it was very expensive when we were younger compared to everything else. I feel like a bucket of chicken back there was like $24, and now it's like $24, and it's like, that's a cheap bucket of chicken now. So every once in a while I'll go there now. But it's been like, I've been like twice in the past 10 years, and both times were within the last 1 year. So I don't have a lot of KFC knowledge. But it is good. I do think it's pretty good chicken. I think I've mentioned before, though, I used to mostly get my fried chicken from Ralph's, or mostly Ralph's. I like their fried chicken the best. I got one more food thing that came out in 57. This is a little bit of a transitional item. It's filled with a lot of those wonderful, fabulous chemicals I was describing earlier. This kind of shocked me. This had been around so long. Sweet and Low packets first debuted in 57.
Okay.
The first person to market and distribute the substitute for sugar that this is, like this type of chemical, it existed and was being used, but just like in wholesale or commercial purposes and stuff like that. The first person to actually market and distribute it individually to people was this diner owner named Benjamin Eisenstadt, who was actually the inventor of the sugar packet years prior. He just didn't patent that invention. So he first made up putting sugar into little packets for his diner. Everyone else started doing it. He was like, fuck, I didn't nail that idea down. Now it's just everybody. So then he was like, all right, fuck, no one else gets to distribute fake sugar. That's my thing. There have been 500 billion packets produced of Sweet and Low since 57. And the name of it, I've always, kind of, so sweet, it's low in calories. I thought it's a fine name. It's actually named after the 1863 song of the same name by Joseph Barnaby, which was based on an Alfred Lord Tennyson poem entitled "The Princess: Sweet and Low." So some ancient old song.
Yeah, that's so random because it works so well in every other aspect as well.
Yeah, that's based on like a song that was almost 100 years old to these people when they invented it.
Just a good name. It's a good name then.
It'd be like poll. Yeah, it's like coming up with an app and naming it after a song from the 30s. But like I said, that was some of those wonderful, fabulous chemicals, which leads us into the tech section a little bit. Just found a couple interesting products that came out.
My news story pretty much is my tech story. And I didn't find a lot in the news, but this was like the big news thing that happened. So I'll kick it off first. On October 4th, Sputnik 1 was launched by the Soviet Union. This is the first artificial satellite. This also marked the beginning of the space race. This was just kind of the Soviet Union showing off a little bit and just saying that if we can do this, we could put a nuke anywhere in the world. This thing moved around the Earth at 18,000 miles an hour and orbited the Earth every 96 minutes.
Damn, that's pretty fast.
So you watched this thing move across the night sky multiple times a night as a American citizen that's like, sheesh.
Yeah.
Dropping shit whatever they wanted to.
Damn, yeah, that's got to be. I mean, now it makes sense of all the science fiction movies that were all space based, and they were worried. They just kept looking up and seeing this thing.
Did you ever see that movie October Sky?
Yeah, with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, like this was inspiring people all across the world to be like, we can do that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like Jake Gyllenhaal plays a guy, I don't remember his name, builds rockets and helps through the Apollo missions and stuff.
Yeah, well, he's like a kid through most. He's like a high school kid. He's like working on his science projects and shit.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then, actually, on November 3rd, 1957, they would launch Sputnik 2.
Oh, damn. Getting the sequel out early.
Yeah. This carried a dog named Lakai, first living creature to ever to be shot into space and orbit Earth. There was just like a stray little dog that they found in Moscow.
Oh.
And they were like, you're going to be remembered forever, little buddy. And they had no plans to bring him back.
Yeah.
I was like, that's sad. But at the same time, we're talking about him.
That's true.
If he just like starved on the streets of Moscow, is that better?
Yeah, no, that's what every dog wants, is to be remembered and leave his mark on the world. That's what most dogs do want, is to leave their mark on the world, though.
Yeah, they're peeing everywhere. This guy peed on the earth, you know? We know about him.
There's also the idea that eventually, you know, I probably those things burned up in the atmosphere, or maybe fell back to Earth at some point, or do you think they maybe just broke free of the orbit, or are they just still out there orbiting? I guess I gave you four options.
As far as Sputnik 1, it definitely came back to Earth on January 4th, 1958 is when it broke up in the atmosphere.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure that
number 2 probably did the same thing.
2 had its same fate, yeah.
I was thinking it would be nice if it broke free of the orbit.
It's still out there somewhere.
Floated out into space. And then, eventually some aliens like find it and they go like, oh, this is what humans look like. Okay, I get it. Okay, that's what when we get there, expect to see these guys running around.
They're like, he built this with no thumbs?
They're like, something crazy has happened here. The dominant race has been enslaved. We'll set you free. They free all the dogs. Well, I got a little, an invention kind of that came out. It was a very high-tech formula for the time that was used for this. Formula 409 came out in 1957, the cleaning product. It was first invented for commercial purposes, for like restaurants, I'm guessing, and other types of greasy enterprises. As it was like for people who had like really tough stuff that normal cleaners couldn't dissolve. This was developed as a way to cut through that, and eventually would go on to being just in the normal domestic space. The inventor's son says that it was named after his mom's birthday, April 9th.
Okay.
But the company says that it's the 409th compound that was tested by the inventors. So it's like they're just distancing themselves from that.
I think I believe the kid more than this company.
Yeah, especially if the kid's mom's birthday actually is April 9th.
Yeah, like you can find
they're just like,
out. Yeah.
Nah, that's not it. That's not why. It's a coincidence. It just happened to be the 409th time that they tried this shit. And then another little chemically invention. One I'll say briefly. I didn't really find a lot of backstory on this. I did search around, but Off mosquito spray came out. That was one of those other things that I went, oh, okay. They just were like, we got barrels full of this chemicals laying around in the back. What if we put it on this kid? What's going to happen? Well, mosquitoes don't like it.
Well, I was kind of thinking the other way around, because mosquitoes fucking suck.
Yeah.
But there's like oils and plants that they don't like. So if you just kind of mush that down into like a watery substance, you can spray that on people. What I'm saying is, I don't think the original Off was intended to be like a chemical.
I think it was filled with DEET still. I think that was just like what they found back then, and that's like
Of
they
what? What is that?
DEET. It's
What
it's
is
like
that?
the chemical compound that most bug sprays are still made of. And nowadays you'll see a lot of places come out with stuff that's like DEET free. Every time it doesn't work. Never fucking works. You have to have that DEET, that precious chemicals. They're the only way.
That's what the bugs don't like. They know what's up.
Yeah, that's exactly. Bugs are like, oh, what the fuck? This is unnatural. You're like, yes, spray that down. I live in Texas, so I am in Mosquitoville out here. And now I get they're out
Deepville, you
there
mean?
too. Yeah. I'm the mayor of Deepville now. I bathe in that shit. I miss back in the day. California didn't used to have mosquitoes.
Not like it is now. It is wild now, dude. These
Mm-hmm.
little black and white ones that like hover just above the ground, like little ankle biters.
Mm.
They are new. They are not
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
were around when we were kids for
No,
sure.
there was some like shipment of something tires. That's what they came over in. They found
Oh,
out.
what the fuck?
Yeah. There was like a shipment of tires like 10 years ago or something like that. Brought over a whole bunch of mosquitoes that didn't used to live here.
It's so bad that I want to build like a bat box in my backyard so the bats will eat the mosquitoes.
Yeah, that's a way to go. I'm just trying to befriend the local freetail population and see if they'll come in and hang out. But so far, all I've gotten is bitten up, bit by bats and by mosquitoes. And the last little, again, they found an alternative chemical that'll help out. Like people were tired of rubbing plants against their bodies all day. They're like, "Here's fabulous DEET." And so another thing was people were really sick of soap scum in their bathtubs because all natural soap leaves a ring. So the Dove Beauty Bar was invented in '57, which uses synthetic detergents so as not to leave a ring around the tub. So like that was like their explicit marketing campaign was like these fabulous, wonderful chemicals won't make you have to clean more. Like, you just cleaned yourself. Why the fuck would you want to be cleaning your tub right afterwards? Use Dove and you won't have to.
I used Dove my whole life, to be honest, until recently.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I always remember being leaves you very soft. I don't use it too often, but it is like very nice, luxurious soap.
I just never liked all the other soap. Yeah, it does leave you soft. All the other ones leave like sticky or like almost. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I never used soap my entire life. I was just always a body wash kid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember using soap for the first time. I was like, "This is awful." You feel all dry and stuff. It's like I feel like I got to take a bath now that I just got cleaned. And then I tried Dove, and I was like, "Oh, this is fantastic." I don't really,
These chemicals are great.
yeah. I'm still kind of on the body wash train or Dr. Squatch. That's a pretty good one. Reach out to us, Dr. Squatch. We'll happily promote your product. Send me some of that Stone Cold Steve Austin soap. That shit is awesome.
To be honest, I've never tried the Squatch. So yeah,
I didn't. My sister they had Stone Cold and Rey Mysterio branded soap. So she sent me that for like my birthday or Christmas one year. And I was like, this is fun. And then I used it. I was like, this is great. They're filled with like, yeah, they're filled with like sand.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah,
so it's like exfoliating.
Yeah, and it's just like they have different levels of intensity for them. Like the Rey Mysterio one had like little bits of something that felt like plastic. Didn't like that one, but I want to get the Woody one. Smelled pretty good. There's a Voldemort one that smells good. Plus the packaging's fun, so
That's
I
cool.
feel like a kid again. Also the reason why they were so concerned with this is back in 1957, the majority of Americans preferred to take baths as opposed to showers. Yeah, I thought that was a little interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, when did that change?
I don't know. I feel like nowadays houses
Slowly, maybe. Just like a slowly progression of like showers are quicker.
They're quicker. It's probably that, like, a lot of needing to get places faster. I think also back then it was like you had water to conserve, you had energy issues, and then you also were filthy. Everyone worked in the fields and stuff. So it's like I have to sit in here and really like marinate and scrub all this shit off. It's gonna take a while. I can't sit and run the shower for an hour. You just got to get up and go to your office job. You get up and rinse off the paper dust from yesterday, and you're on your way.
All the pencil shavings.
Nowadays, you go tour a new house, like a newly built one, and they half the time don't even have a bathtub in the house anymore. They'll have like one downstairs for if you have to bathe the kids, but
yep. Mm-hmm.
Master bedroom, it's a big old shower.
Well, speaking of saving time, the first electronic watch came out on January 3rd.
Oh, shit.
This is by...
Is it Bulova?
Bulova, yeah.
I have a Bulova watch. Then
Go put it on and then be like, "Oh, I'm just whapping away."
Hold on, I am gonna do that.
Bulova Actron was the company that made it. It was an American company. It used a tuning fork mechanism instead of like the regular analog clicking timepieces.
Oh, okay. You mean like
Yeah.
this? Oh, you got a Bulova on right now. I'm leaving all that in, by the way. It's much funnier of a joke if I have to run and grab it.
So yeah, I mean, Trey would not have his watch on today probably if they didn't.
I like this one quite a bit. I got a compliment on this the other day. Someone was like, "Oh, is that a Bulova?" I said, "Oh, yes, it is. First digital watch."
1957.
Listen to Wish We Were Then, coming out this Monday. That's cool though. I watches still weird me the fuck out that they're like, it's quartz. It just ticks every minute or what, every second or whatever. I'm like, what is that? How do we know that it's correct? What do we do? We're basing it off of rocks? I don't understand the science of timekeeping.
No, I don't know. I just live here.
It's so funny. You go like, how does my phone work? What a marvel of invention a phone is. And it's like, how does a watch work? Like, I don't know. Fuck. You know?
Equally, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, I understand simple pulley systems and wedges. That's as far as I got in engineering. Some very smart people who invented some stuff. This, though, brings us to video games. This is last year that we're covering in the 50s. So I don't have to dig this deep to find video game information anymore. From now on, it'll be a lot easier. In 1957, a chess program. This was the first ever program that was fully capable of completing a whole game of chess. Came out.
Okay.
It was written by Alex Bernstein at MIT. Those are some smart guys. They know how watches work. They were like, we got the watches down pat. Let's move on to chess.
I don't need that crap. Get out of here.
It was built on an IBM 704 computer. It could do 42,000 instructions per second, which seems like a lot of stuff, but it took 8 minutes to do a move. So it was a slow-ass chess game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of instructions to get to, like, pawn, move, forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, this was the first time that a chess game could be completed by a computer. So kind of one of the earliest video games that really existed. But that'll be enough of a jumping off point to talk about toys. You got anything for this year?
The big one is on January 23rd, Frisbee started being sold commercially by Whammo Toys.
Oh, okay.
It was originally called the Pluto Platter, which is an awesome name.
That's funny. All right.
The name Frisbee was later adopted in 1958 as a misspelled Frisbee Pie because it's a Frisbee Pie company. The people used to toss that around.
Oh.
And the person who used to toss it around was named Walter Frederick Morrison. In the 1930s, him and his wife started throwing around a little popcorn tin. They switched to a pie tin, and he officially started selling it for 25 cents. And then eventually it got picked up by Whammo and started being sold in 1957.
Damn. Whammo, really, you'd think they're the ones who, we talked about them with the hula hoop and stuff. It's like, really, they're just finding something that someone else has already been using for decades. And then goes, slap the Whammo logo on there. And now we're the people who make that shit for the rest of time.
Yeah, they're good marketers, I guess.
Yeah, that's what the 50s was all about, those ad men. Sometimes I call them mad men, because I think they're just crazy.
Clever.
Have you ever heard of the like drinking game with frisbees? Not really a game, just kind of a feat. That
no,
like to drink a frisbee full of beer. Like you flip it over and then pour beer into it.
No, it's just gonna be a mess everywhere.
It can hold like 6 beers.
What the crap?
Yeah, just your average frisbee.
There are different frisbee sizes.
Regulation.
What's regulation?
Regulation size 2.
What are these Whammos circumference?
Not finding a whole lot online. I've just heard this, I guess, in
college.
It's sort of just like an urban legend, I guess. This is an article that leads me to a video. 55 ounces is what this guy just poured into his frisbee and
oh, what the fuck?
Measured. Yeah, 55 ounces. What is that? That's like 4.5 beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, it's a lot more beer than you would have met. You can't. Yeah, 4 beers would fit into a frisbee. But yeah, I guess then you just have to knock it all back because you're not walking around a party with a frisbee full of beer. Like, this is my receptacle for the rest of the night.
Yeah, that would just get everywhere. I feel like you would just drop half it anyway.
Yeah, I wish I had a frisbee lying around, but I don't. I'm gonna try this shit later tonight. My thing in the toy world is brine shrimp were first sold as pets. At the time, they were called Instant Life, but they would be renamed sea monkeys in 1962.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like a science project that's also a toy, basically. They have a lifespan in the wild of like 2 to 3 months, but they've been observed in captivity, as it were, as a toy or whatever, for up to 5 years.
Wow.
The kid's good at keeping his sea monkeys, I guess. That's pretty wild.
Why do they call them sea monkeys?
I guess their tails kind of resemble a tail of a monkey, I guess a little bit. I don't know. I've never really known, but they like really play it up on the packaging. And then I guess a lot of people get pretty pissed off when they see that they're just like little squiggly amoebas in there.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be like people with pitchforks and, or tridents, I guess. They're probably not pitchforks. They're not out there baling hay. They were created by Harold von Braunhut. He was the inventor of X-ray specs. So another guy who would invent something years prior and then come out with another huge thing. X-ray specs were a much bigger deal in the 50s. That was another thing people were pretty pissed off about. They'd be comic book ads and it says you could see through things like clothes. Little boy gets it and he's like, what the fuck? I can't see shit through this. So this guy's just pulling the wool over children's eyes for years. He also, notably, was a KKK and Aryan Nation member.
Oh, what the heck? Do we not support him anymore? Or what the?
I'm never buying another sea monkey as long as I live.
X-ray specs, throwing them in the trash.
Yeah.
They were useful too. Got a lot of use out of those bad boys.
I have to figure out my own technology from here on out.
All right. Well, here on Wish We Were Then, we go from games and toys to other games, sports.
Should have slotted frisbees right there. That would have been a better transitional thing.
Oh well. It's all right, whatever. The World Series champions were the Milwaukee Braves. The NFL champions are the Detroit Lions. The NBA champions were the Boston Celtics. The Stanley Cup champions were the Montreal Canadiens. This year would mark the last game ever played at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn on September 24th by the Dodgers. They moved to LA in 1958.
Yes. This was their big announcement came this year that they were moving. We talked about that. We covered their moving over. Them and the Giants would move from New York.
Eventually, yeah.
All that takes place in our 1958 year, so check out that if you want some more information. I do have a little bit of extra tidbit about their move as well. On January 22nd, Jackie Robinson retired. He was 37 years old, had been playing for 10 years, was the first black player in the league, and played for the Dodgers in Brooklyn. His last game, unfortunately, he struck out to end his career. I thought that was kind of a bummer. He didn't nail a homer. He struck out to end the 56 World Series, and the Dodgers would lose to the Yankees. He got traded to the Giants at the start of the 57 season. But unbeknownst to the Dodgers, who he played for, he was retiring. He had already officially decided to retire, but he sold the exclusive rights to his retirement story to Look magazine. So they actually were the ones who announced the retirement instead of the Dodgers organization. The Dodgers had to read Look magazine to find out Robinson wasn't going to be here anymore, and they had already traded him. Yeah, I thought that was pretty nuts. Sucks the most. I mean, Dodgers don't really lose out on anything. The Giants just traded for a retired player.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, so they thought we know he didn't do that well that last game, but we're gonna stick him right. He was also I'm not gonna play for my rival team, and then everyone's moving. So no, fuck that shit. I'm just gonna sit here and work for. He became an executive at Chock full of Nuts.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah,
he became an executive for this coffee company. He's like, nah, you guys go do your baseball rivalry in California. I'm gonna stay here and make coffee. Well, so you sit down with a nice cup of coffee. I'm going to see what's on the boob tube, is how you would say that in 1957. More likely than not, beginning of the year, as we've mentioned, the rating system tracks until September, and then it starts over. So we always go with the first half, last half of the year. First half of the year, I Love Lucy, number one. It would drop
Great
off the
show.
top 30 completely in the second half of the year because it ended. This was the last year of I Love Lucy. So they ended their reign at number one. It is a great show. I used to love that show as a kid.
Oh, watched it all the time.
I haven't watched it in years, but yeah, I used to really like it. I wonder if I still would. Some people I talked to are like, yeah, she was a bit much. And I'm like, really? But I'm also like, I was a child, so I guess it makes sense that it would appeal to me for her to go, wah! You know. Ed Sullivan, interestingly, I couldn't really find a reason for this when I dug deep, because sometimes it'll be like, oh, the show moved or it had some sort of format change. But Ed Sullivan would go from being number 2 at the beginning of the year to drop down to number 27.
Damn.
Kind of swapped places with the Danny Thomas show, which also had been around, was not in the top 30 for the first half of the year, and then shot up to number 2 in the second half. So people were like, I don't like Ed Sullivan anymore. Let's check out Danny Thomas show. And I guess everybody had the same idea. For some reason, they just swapped places, essentially. And when I Love Lucy ended, Gunsmoke would go from number 7 to number 1, which we know Gunsmoke stuck around and was like the number 1 show for the next 3 years. Because for some reason they're always super popular in the late 50s and early 60s.
Yeah, a lot of Westerns came out this year.
I only had Have Gun, Will Travel, and Wagon Train as the 2 that I kind of recognize the names of.
Maverick. I remember that one.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
Tales of Wells Fargo.
Tales of Wells Fargo would debut at number 3 in the second half of the year.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so Westerns were starting to, I mean, they already were popular, but they were like taking over. Gunsmoke's shooting up, and Tales of Wells Fargo comes out and becomes number 3.
Track Down, Tombstone's Territory, Colt 45, The Californians, The Restless Gun. There's so many, dude.
Yeah.
These are all just ones that just came out this year. Very popular.
Yeah, I know. And that was definitely kids in the 50s loved cowboys. They moved on to surfing in the 60s. It's funny that they were just like this was the one thing and it was popular for everybody. So it's like, let's just make 10 different shows this year that are all basically the same premise. Zorro also would come out this year. Kind of a Western-ish sort of feel.
Yeah. Same, but different.
Yeah, just a different flavor. One of the most enduring sitcoms of the 1950s would come out. If you want to, it's like just a situational show. It wasn't that funny, but Leave It to Beaver came out this year.
I watched that this week.
Oh, okay, cool. I don't know if I've seen like an episode maybe or 2 of the original series. I saw the movie that came out when we were kids, but I have not seen too much of the show.
Yeah, I remember the movie when it came out. I like that movie, actually. Now that you brought it up, I totally forgot about that. But the show was pretty good. I mean, it was like you said, it wasn't that funny. It's more like situational, kind of like wholesome.
Mm-hmm. Wait, why is his name Beaver? Did they say?
No, I didn't. I only watched like the first 2 episodes, so maybe they elaborate, but no.
That's where I would put it.
Oh, but his name is Theodore.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know it's not his real name. It's like a nickname, but it's like, does he have buck teeth or something, or is it just?
No, not really. I mean, is Theodore short for, or Beaver short for Theodore?
I don't not traditionally, as far as I know. It's funny. There's also a chipmunk named Theodore as well. One of the Alvin and the Chipmunk. One of his chipmunks. One of Alvin's chipmunks are named Theodore.
Yeah.
It's funny. There's the Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like, you're a chipmunk too, motherfucker. Why don't we get named? Just call Alvin, Theodore, and Simon. What the fuck?
The Chipmunk Brothers.
Yeah, or just the Chipmunks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of animated animals, a couple that came out this year. The Woody Woodpecker Show would debut. It was just sort of a way for them to market the theatrical shorts that had been coming out for years. But the first color Saturday morning cartoon, and also the first work by Hanna-Barbera, would come out this year. I've mentioned it once before, as it was the first one, and it wasn't as successful as the second one that came out, which I don't remember what it was, but listen to every one of our episodes and you'll figure out which one that was. Probably 58 would be my guess. But the Rough and Ready show came out this year. It was about a cat and a dog. But that was the first Saturday morning cartoon where these were like dedicated characters for this cartoon. They didn't come from theatrical shorts.
I remember watching this show as a kid.
I don't know if I've ever seen it before.
Maybe it was just on every once in a while.
was probably on Boomerang or something like that.
Yeah, Boomerang. Yeah, it has to be what it was on. Or they use these characters in other shows. Maybe, I don't know.
It's like they always do those sorts of like ensemble specials or like all these characters run around Jellystone or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're probably friends with Boo Boo and Yogi and Quick Draw McGraw and Snagglepuss and all those fuckers.
They're all in the same universe.
Yeah, like that. The fact that I just named Snagglepuss and Quick Draw McGraw, like I've never seen Augie Doggy and Daddy Doggy before. I just know who those characters are because they like show up in other Hanna-Barbera stuff,
Yeah.
especially like the Christmas specials and things like that. Okay, let's go ahead and turn over from the TV. We'll spin our chairs around and face the radios now and click them on and see what's popping off. Let's talk briefly about the top 5. This year is a pre-Billboard Hot 100 year. So I just went through and put all of the songs that were the top 50 best sellers in stores. That was one of the main lists that they had. They had a handful of them. So I kind of like did some cross-referencing and made sure that like things that were featured on the other lists at the time, like most played by disc jockeys and a couple other lists they had, and just kind of made sure they all showed up on this. So the top 50 is basically the 50 most popular songs for the year in 57. After that, some other stuff that came out that did not end up on this year's top 50 or on any of the other Hot 100s that would be thereafter. So let's first jump into the top 5.
Number 5 is So Rare by Jimmy Dorsey and Tommy Dorsey.
Wasn't familiar.
I wasn't familiar with this one either. To be honest, there's a lot of these songs this year that I didn't recognize.
It's a weird era of music. Like this is almost like a big band sort of a song in a way, it's very orchestral.
It's a cool song. I like big band kind of music.
Yeah, this reminds me of old movies and stuff like that. Like this would just be playing in the background while Jimmy Stewart starts dancing with a young woman,
Yeah, right.
Number 4, we have Young Love by Tab Hunter. I used to be a bit of a tab hunter when I was playing guitar back in the day. I got an ultimate guitar. Started hunting for tabs. This song would also pop up at number 8. There are a couple times that this happens this year where there are more than one artist to do the same song, and both of them charted pretty decently. I preferred the Sonny James version of Young Love. I really didn't like that. Like So Rare was fine. I kind of was like, oh, this is pleasant to listen to. I was like, this song sucks. The Tab Hunter one, when it came on, I was like, I did not enjoy this. And then when it came on again, a couple songs later by Sonny James, I thought this version's okay. I would listen to this back in the day.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Sonny James one better.
I also like the guitar work in it. In the second version, yeah, it's just kind of less of it's got more of an identity to it, where the first one's very just like meandering, just sort of like noise almost, just coming out. Whoa, everything just going.
All right, moving on to number 3 is Little Darlin' by the Diamonds. You related at all, Trey?
Yeah, these are my uncles. My old ass uncles.
They're no, it's a super cool song.
Yeah, I thought it
was fun.
I was like, this is like a super early type of Metallica singing, where he's like, "Oh well, my lover," it's like Metallica should cover this song. Well, my lover.
That would actually be a pretty cool song.
I like this band actually already just from one song that I knew it's on my Halloween playlist. They do this song called Batman, Wolfman, Frankenstein, or Dracula.
Oh, that's a cool song.
Yeah, there was like a weird there were a handful of songs that I have on my Halloween playlist that are from the 50s where like the singers were concerned with the fact that their girlfriends liked the monsters of the movie. There are more than one of these songs where it's like the girl's like, she wants a Batman, Wolfman, Frankenstein, or Dracula to put her in the mood for love. And like he's like, nah, I gotta be a fucking mad scientist to get this girl off. He's worried about. And who are these weird ghoulish girls that all these guys were dating? But it's a cool song. Yeah, I do think it's funny that Batman is woven in there with the other ones. She wants a Batman, Wolfman, Frankenstein, or Dracula.
Well, I think a Batman was like Batboy, like the
yeah, probably. But Batman had been around already, so he was a going concern at this point. But I think they were talking about like a bat creature.
Yeah.
Could have just said like a wolf man. I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's hard to come up with. They're like, fuck it, just say Batman. I don't know, dude. Like, she wants a mummy. That doesn't flow. We gotta make it Batman. Let's see. Next up on the list is Love Letters in the Sand by Pat Boone. This one's
I like the whistling part of the near the end of the song. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of this song. It's kind of boring, to be honest.
yeah, I thought it was. I kind of saw it as being a little bit of a response to the kind of more raucous stuff that was coming out this year.
Well, Pat Boone was also in a top 10 for something a little bit more rocky. It's the "Don't Forbid Me" is number 6 on our list. It is a little more, maybe just a little more upbeat of a song, not so much rocky, but
Yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of that blues back and down, 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 down.
mhm.
But let's move on to number one to see what Pat Boone was railing against, what he was shaking his fist at the radio when he came on. He said, "No, fuck that guy."
I think everybody was saying that about this artist. Number 1 is "All Shook Up" by Elvis Presley.
Ever heard of him, folks?
The one, the only Elvis.
He
There are
did have a.
Elvises.
That's true. He had a couple of songs. He had a handful of songs hit this year-end list, and "All Shook Up's" a good one. I do like this song. It's
Yeah.
cool, but Jailhouse Rock, just to spoil the surprise, Jailhouse Rock came out this year and was kind of lower on the list than I would have imagined. I would have thought that would be the number one for him this year. Jailhouse Rock came in at 16. 14 was "Let Me Be Your Teddy Bear," which was one I was not familiar with.
And then number 9 is "Too Much."
And that one's also pretty good. I like that one. I used to really like Elvis when I was a kid. I had a greatest hits CD of his, and so I kind of know most of his big old songs because of that.
Yeah.
Like I say, "All Shook Up" school. So yeah, he came in and he just did exactly what that song said to the radio and the and the music community. Shook it all up. Well, let's see. Anything else we want to look at in the top 50 before we get out of there?
The Everly Brothers were doing stuff around this time. One of my favorite songs of all time is "Bye Bye Love."
That's a good one. I like the Everly Brothers.
I really like that song by them. Especially like the guitar and stuff in it is like different for like the time. It's like almost like has like that 60s like pop.
Yeah,
in
you can definitely
you know?
see where the Beatles were pulling from.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
"Banana Boat" by Harry Belafonte. It's crazy how popular he was and how popular he made calypso music in the U.S. Like, he's the reason why people liked calypso music for the 50s, which is funny that they enjoyed calypso, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool to see a black artist make it so big at the time when that was not super common.
"You Send Me" by Sam Cooke. That's a great song too.
I love that song. It's one of my favorite Sam Cooke songs.
So classic.
It's a really great one. His voice sounds great. I love that too. Like, "You Send Me" sounds like, it's funny because a couple people don't really say that as much anymore, but a couple of years ago, I used to think of this song all the time because people were like, "Oh, this is sending me,"
Yeah, oh yeah.
online. They don't really say that much anymore, but I always thought, like, yeah, Sam Cooke predicted that lingo. One of the songs on the top 50, "School Day," "Ring Ring Goes the Bell" by Chuck Berry, came out.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like crazy that that's not the same song as "No Particular Place to Go." They're literally the exact song. It's just different lyrics to it. This one's just about the "Ring a ring goes the bell." Like, it's fucking didn't even try to write a different one.
Yeah, totally. Just rewrote the lyrics. I mean, hey, if it worked for him, I guess.
Yeah, that used to work for.
But
a lot
it's
of
funny
people
because
back
this
then.
one was popular. It would make more sense if this one wasn't popular.
"No Particular Place to Go" is stuck on a lot better because it's like way more fun to sing about driving around in your automobile than going to fucking school.
Yeah.
But that song is off of his debut album. There were a number of really huge debut albums to come out this year. Mostly, though, they like this and a couple of the other ones I'm about to mention, they were filled with a lot of singles that have been coming out for sometimes like 5 years already. Some of these people. Like, let's go ahead and take a look at number 51 and 52, I think, fall into that category of being like, wow, this person wasn't that popular. Like, these singles, both of these actually did come out like the year before or this year, but they also didn't. They hit well on the country charts, they hit well on the R&B charts, but never on the top sellers.
Number 51 is "Walk the Line" by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, that one did hit number 1 on country, but didn't cross over.
That's crazy. Number 52 is "Hallelujah, I Love Her So" by Ray Charles.
It did decently well on the R&B charts, but never crossed over either.
"Lucille" by Little Richard. "Walking After Midnight" by Patsy Cline. Dang, yeah.
Those are all off of debut albums. So you had debuts from Ray Charles, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Johnny Cash, Patsy Cline, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Ricky Nelson. And then I was pretty shocked to see a couple lower on here. I put down Sun Ra. I had no idea he'd been making music since the 50s. That's fucking wild to me. I know him as a 70s guy. He's really a very interesting, weird character. He has like this huge band that he makes this crazy experimental jazz with. And I watched a movie with him in it that's called Space is the Place. It's from the 70s. And it wasn't very good, but I've just always been fascinated by this guy, Sun Ra. He's a really unique dude. And I just didn't know he'd been plugging away at it for kind of thanklessly for decades. Cool to see that he was doing this weird, unique stuff back in the 50s, being super off kilter, pretending he's an alien and shit like that. And like his whole album has a lot of, like, this one's called Street Named Hell. And you thought there's no way that, anybody was going to put this out back then. Another song on this album was called A Call for All Demons.
The heck?
Yeah, I just thought he was cool, like that he was doing this alternative stuff that I'm sure was like
Very
infuriating most people. Yeah, at the time.
Yeah.
They were not happy, except for that one guy's girlfriend who liked the horror movie Monsters. At number 64, I put down Yvonne DiCarlo. She is, we talked about her in the Ten Commandments because she plays like Moses' wife in the desert.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
She's also Lily Munster in the Munsters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I had no idea she was a singer prior to striking it big as an actor. So yeah, she's pretty good too. I mean, it wasn't like she made a bunch of waves, but critics thought she was pretty decent, and the best reviewed song off of it was Blue Moon, so that's one I threw on here. The other person who came out with their debut album that really shocked me to find out they had a career prior to what they'd be known for as a singer was Maya Angelou.
I know. I saw that.
Wasn't that? I was like, what the fuck? This was before she started writing poetry. She was a singer first. She'd been doing it for a couple of years. This is just when her debut album came out.
It's calypso music we talked about earlier, and there's a few other ones. The Yellow Bird you put on here is a calypso song.
I know there are a couple more. I just don't know off the top of my head. It's hard because of them all being so unfamiliar,
Yeah, but there are a couple, or at least near the bottom of our list. If you guys want to see what else was popular for the calypso music.
Yeah, if you want to see all of these songs, take a look at our social media profile. It'll be posted for the next week or two. But then also look on the episode descriptions on YouTube and Spotify, wherever you're listening. There should be a link to a Spotify playlist that features all this shit we're talking about.
Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, notifications, follow us on Instagram. Any little bit helps. We appreciate it.
Yes. Make donations. We'll have a Kickstarter starting up soon that just says we want some money. You can help us reach that goal. Somebody else who had their debut single this year, but not their debut album, but they did come out with their first ever single, didn't do well, not on Spotify, and like it took them a couple years to actually start selling music for real. But this was the year Willie Nelson's first single came out.
Oh, okay.
Back when he was a clean-cut gentleman instead of the dirty, long-haired outlaw. Yeah. But so this was this first year. I didn't get a chance to listen to it. Like I said, it wasn't on Spotify, and I wasn't about to open one more app to look for it, so I didn't find that song.
All right, number 70. Trey always likes to find the holiday themed ones on here, and it's Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms. Ooh, classic Christmas song. I love when we find like really good Christmas songs that are on here.
Yeah, like the original version of it.
Yeah, I think it's so much fun.
Yeah, this is like the first version and the best known one. And I was actually kind of surprised it didn't chart higher, You think it would have done well, but
it's too rock and roll, man.
Yeah, I guess.
We're ready for it.
Yeah. Your kids are going to love it. That's what he said when he played this one. But it did end up hitting a Hot 100 that we've talked about. I don't know if you remember. It was on our New Year's episode when we did 2025.
Oh, yeah.
This song landed in the Hot 100 last year. Isn't that wild? Took fucking 58 years for it to hit the Hot 100, but it did it.
Dang.
I don't know if it ever hit between
we've done all of the research in between. It didn't hit in any of those.
All right, I have one other little story to talk about, just real quick, little interesting tidbit of information that would come from our number one selling artist of the year, Elvis Presley. This was the year that he bought Graceland, March 26th. Yeah, he bought the mansion for $100,000 back then.
Damn.
It would be about 1.19 million today. So not that
That's
much money,
actually
but
not that much money.
yeah,
But
I
he was
think
just starting.
that's true. Let's
It's
see. I
not
wonder
like
what
he was.
Graceland's worth today.
Oh, well, it's gone up because of who owned it.
It's estimated to be worth 400 and 500 million now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of that's appreciation, probably a little bit of Elvis being there.
Probably like hundreds of millions of dollars in appreciation.
Isn't he buried there too?
Yeah.
Those are some very valuable bones. I might just buy it just for those bones.
Those bones
But
are worth $400 million.
I was just gonna say, you buy Graceland, you sell Elvis's bones, and you're coming out in the green, in the red. I don't know, in the black. Who knows?
Yeah.
Coming out colorful, one way or the other. Okay, well, let's see. Elvis this year was a bit of a movie star. Jailhouse Rock is the theme song to a movie of the same name. I didn't know there was a movie, but I thought it was one of those things they turned a popular song of his into a movie. But no, it was actually the other way around. They just made a movie, made him a song for it, and then that song would go on to be popular. But that did come from a movie, so let's move on over into the movie theater and start talking about the number one movie of 1957, which this year came out on December 14th and was called Bridge on the River Kwai, directed by David Lean, which was fun to find out a little that it was directed by David Lean. Have you ever seen the video Unforgivable on YouTube? Do you remember that one where the guy's like in black and white and he's like, I told that bitch, go up to the counter, give me a chicken sandwich and some waffle fries for free.
Yeah.
That's where I knew the title of this from first, is the part where he's like, I brought some DVDs over. We're going to watch Dr. Zhivago, A Brief Encounter, and Bridge on the River Kwai. A lean night. And I always thought he was just saying, like, I don't have a lot of DVDs. It's going to be a lean night when it comes to what we're watching. And when I was doing research on this, I was like, oh, David Lean directed all those movies. What a wild thing to pull out of your ass for this video. Like, he's obviously improvising it. Why did he know David Lean directed these 3 movies?
Maybe he's an arts film student or
Definitely,
something.
yeah. It just seemed like the most random selection of movies because it's all stuff I'd never even heard of, So this was directed by David Lean, and I'm not going to call him Sir David Lean, actually, because I don't know if that's proper. I don't know if you like retroactively call the person sir or not, but he was not knighted until 1984. So the time in 57 where we just were, it only said David Lean on the screen. No sir involved. The screenplay was by Carl Foreman and Michael Wilson, who their names didn't even appear on the credits when it first came out. It was just said it was by Pierre Boyer, who is the person who wrote the book that this movie was based on, called Les Ponts de la Rivière Kwai. He's a Frenchman. Didn't even speak English. So people were like, how the fuck did he write this script then? I'll mention that in a moment as to why Carl Foreman and Michael Wilson weren't involved in the credits. This movie starred William Holden along with Alec Guinness. I'm not going to call him Sir Alec Guinness because back in 57, he wasn't knighted yet. He got knighted in 1959. So pretty quickly after this, director had to wait a couple years to get his knighthood. Alec Guinness right away became Sir Alec Guinness. They were like, great work in Bridge on the River Kwai.
Then he did a good job in this movie.
He did a great job. The Academy thought so as well. Spoiler alert coming. I'll tell you how well they think he did in just a moment. Also starred Jack Hawkins and Sesui Hayakawa. The budget was about $3 million, and it grossed $15 million in the year 57. I'll read you the brief synopsis here. Coming from Turner Classic Movies. A group of British POWs in Southeast Asia during World War II are forced to build a bridge crucial to the Japanese war plan to link Singapore and Rangoon by railroad, unaware of an Allied mission to destroy it. Concerned first and foremost with military rules and honor, Colonel Nicholson uses the bridge building as a way to restore morale and order among his troops and show the Japanese the superiority of British know-how. But he soon develops an obsessive pride and protectiveness toward the bridge. What was your relationship to this movie? Had you seen it? Had you heard of it?
I never even heard of it. I did not even catch it on that movie or that video that we just talked about. No, I never even heard this movie before. When you told me that that's what the movie of the year was, I was like, I'm assuming that's real. But no, doing a little bit of research, this was actually a very crucial part of Japanese plans through Thailand, because this is all based off a true story.
Yeah. That's kind of as deep as the real like story goes with it, is that this bridge existed. There's not, most of the rest of this movie is a fabrication.
Yes, it's all fabrication. Even the bridge never got blown up, and if it was rebuilt immediately after with a steel structure.
Yes. So yeah, it still stands to this day.
Yes.
You can go there and be like, man, Alec Guinness really put his heart and soul into this thing. If you want to, you can check it out. A couple of the characters are like, they do have some analogs in real life that were actual people, but they're not as strictly based on it. It kind of seems too like a lot of people were kind of unhappy with the treatment of all people involved. When it came to the movie as well as the book. A lot of people see it as being an anti-English thing, like this is against Englishmen and their sense of morals, where they whatever, because the English guy sticking to his English rules and regulations and all that really is not a good thing when it comes down to it. There also is the fact that they disparage the Japanese and act like they wouldn't understand that they couldn't build a bridge in wet sand. Like they'd be like, well, I don't know why this isn't working. Fuck, like they just don't understand how ground works. So those two things. So really two cultures that they're sort of not treating with the greatest lens or whatever. Also the two main not main characters, but the person running the prison camp, as well as the head prisoner, essentially. Those two actually became friends after the real life story ended.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the Japanese captain was sort of seen as being the most merciful and lenient, and like worked with the prisoners and would kind of exchange stuff with them in order for them to work. And so he was like super well respected by all of his prisoners. The captain, the British captain, was named Captain Tusi, and Saito was the real guy at the camp, but he was actually a sergeant major. He wasn't exactly in command. He was second in command in the real camp.
Oh, okay.
When the real life Captain Saito, or Sergeant Major Saito, was on trial for war crimes, Captain Tusi actually like defended him and his character and made sure he didn't get a bad punishment, because he was like, no, this guy was lenient and he was respectful. And then the real life Captain Tusi also did everything he could to keep the bridge from being built in real life. He was kind of the complete opposite of Alec Guinness in the movie.
Gotcha.
He gathered up termites in order to eat away at the wood. He'd like unleash them on the wood during.
Oh, dang.
And just some other shoddy building techniques and stuff like that. But yeah, he went as far as like gathering wood-eating bugs to put on the bridge to fuck it up more. So he stalled the building as much as he could. So kind of the exact opposite of those two characters.
Yeah, like whole justification of doing it and everything. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I thought it was cool though. It was an interesting story. I mean, I did think I liked that. I mean, it doesn't have to be an indictment of all of British culture just because this one guy wants to be like following the rules and show, like, we got to show them that we're not going to be broken. We're going to do the job, and we're going to show that the British can build a bridge and build it well, and that's going to do more for anybody.
Integrity.
I mean, I guess I understood a bit of the reasoning behind it. Yeah. I thought it was interesting.
It was a good movie. I liked it. The other character, can't think of his name right now, Shears, William Holden, he did a really good job. I liked his character in it.
Yeah. He was the biggest actor at the time in that movie. Alec Guinness was actually mostly known for comedies up until this point.
Oh, okay.
So that was another thing that was pretty funny about this, was the way that the director hated Alec Guinness, didn't want him in the movie, was not thrilled about him being there. Also, the production didn't really want the director there. They were like, didn't think he was the right guy for the job either. He kind of was like a last choice. And so I just thought it was crazy that both of them would both win the Academy Awards in their respective categories. This movie won Best Picture. Alec Guinness won Best Actor. David Lean won Best Director. It also won for Best Cinematography, Editing, Score, and Adapted Screenplay. Damn. So, and all of this shit's actually pretty crazy. The guy who wrote the score only had 10 days to write it. They came to him really late. He only had 10 days to write it, and he won the Academy Award as well as a Grammy for this. That's the awesome. Screenplay initially came from Foreman and Wilson. Like I said, they were actually blacklisted by Hollywood at this time for being suspected communists. because that was what was going around in the industry. That
Mhm.
that a huge list of actors and directors and writers who weren't allowed to work in the industry because of the fact that they were communist sympathizers. So they actually worked on the script in secret, but not together. Foreman started working on it first. Then he and Lean got really upset with each other and they couldn't fucking work together. So Foreman left, and then they brought on Wilson to take over and write the rest of the script. They both were awarded an Oscar in 1984. However, they both had passed prior to actually receiving the award.
Oh, that sucks.
Wilson had been dead for years. Foreman actually died the day after they announced it. So at least you got to hear he was getting the Oscar finally.
Yeah. Okay. At least you had that.
David Lean fought with everybody on this set because he also did not like Alec Guinness, like I mentioned. Guinness wanted to inject humor into it. He thought, I think that we need to have some reason to sympathize with this guy. We need to make him be like a little lighter. And the director was like, no, you need to play him the way that he's fucking written, which is not very sympathetic. And yeah, they argued over that constantly. They really just could not stand each other.
Yeah.
There were a number of people who were considered for the role of Nicholson before it was like begrudgingly given to Alec Guinness. Cary Grant was offered the role, but he turned it down because he wanted to work in this movie that came out this year called The Pride and the Passion, because he wanted a chance to work with Marlon Brando. It was a movie that starred Cary Grant, Sophia Loren, and notably not Marlon Brando, because he got replaced by Frank Sinatra before the movie started shooting.
Oh.
I was like, damn, that sucks for Cary Grant. He's like, oh, blast! You know, he could have been the best actor of the year, and he ended up starring in a movie that was pretty universally panned. Laurence Olivier also was offered the role. He turned it down to star in The Prince and the Showgirl with Marilyn Monroe. And later on, he was like, oh, yeah, it was a terrible decision for me to give up shooting in the jungle so I could go play in do bedroom scenes with Marilyn Monroe. Oh, what was me? Charles Laughton, who actually, he was like a famous actor. He played the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He was in Mutiny on the Bounty, Witness for the Prosecution. The only movie he directed was Night of the Hunter in 1955, which I mentioned on this show. Really great movie. He was the first choice, but I don't know. They just ended up not sticking with him because he kind of was, I think they said he was a little too fat. I think it's the reasoning for why he didn't make it. Orson Welles was also considered for a position directing the movie and offered a starring role. It did not say which role he would have essayed, but they were like, hey, do you want to direct and star in this? And he was like, no, I'm not feeling it. A lot of directors also turned this down. The other ones were Howard Hawks, who directed His Girl Friday and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Fred Zinnemann, who directed From Here to Eternity in Oklahoma, John Ford, who had done The Grapes of Wrath, and William Wyler, who directed Ben-Hur. So a lot of like directors that were really big names that were very successful and very well-known directors all turned down the movie. It seemed like most of the people they approached beforehand just did not think this shit was going to work.
Yeah. They're like, you want to talk about a bridge? Lame.
Yeah, and like, oh, you want to talk about a guy who's helping out the enemy that we're all like still kind of sore over, you know?
Yeah, that's true too. Fresh wounds still.
There was some funny studio interference a little bit. Like, I guess they got mad that there were no white women in the movie. They had to go back and add a scene. Well, like after been shooting for 3 weeks, Columbia Pictures came and said they were going to like pull the plug on the whole production. They're like, there's no white woman in this movie. No one's going to come see this. So they had to add the scene between Holden and the nurse on the beach.
Oh yeah.
That's why this thing kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere and doesn't go anywhere, and you know what I mean? It's sort of there for no real reason. It's because the director was forced to do that. And he like hated that scene.
So yeah, because all he did was like, hey, come meet me. Okay, I will.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, sorry, yeah, bye. And it's like, what happened to that girl? You're like, no one gives a shit. You're like, why did you put her in there then? You could have just had him sitting there drinking a drink or something like that.
Yep. Or he could have got a letter and says, I need to go meet the officer.
Yeah.
It could have been so many different things.
I thought that was interesting that he escapes from the prison, makes it to the beach. Then the British army comes in and is like, listen, you got to help us out. We got to get in there and destroy this bridge. And he's like, I'm not going back. And then finally he's like, okay, listen, truth is, I'm not even really an officer. I took the clothes of a dead man when we got sunk on our ship. I'm really just like a swabby or something like that, right? He's like, nothing. And they're like, no, we already knew. We knew that this was the case. So you can go back and go to jail for impersonating an officer, or you can fucking stay here and help us out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I probably would have been like, no, fucking, I'll go to jail. No, I'm not going back there, you know?
Yeah, that's wild. And then they didn't need him at all.
Yeah, he was really not central to the rest of this.
Yeah, he even says it. He goes, "You guys have this guy as a guide, and you speak the native language. Why am I even here?"
Yeah, and he's like, we're not going back the way that I came from because we
Yeah.
can't now. So what the fuck am I here for? And they're like, oh, well, you never know.
You're
And
here
then-
now, so
Yeah, it's like he's like, you might come up, you might be useful later. It might come up. Like, what? Not way to set that up and then have it go nowhere, really.
yeah, right.
Yeah, it's the fact that he gets shot, I guess, that like makes Alec Guinness sad enough to blow it up.
Yeah, that's the only thing he does for the real plot. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just him.
Right.
He dies face down on the beach, and then Alec Guinness goes, "What have I done?"
yeah, it makes him realize the error of his ways.
Yeah, comes very much the last possible moment, and he decides to blow the bridge up.
And almost didn't.
He gets way more involved with like deciding to keep the bridge up, and now he's got pride in this bridge, and he wants to see it work. So he stops caring about the soldiers' lives and the orders too. At this point, they're like, "Listen, you're ordered to fucking destroy this thing now. Like that's what we're doing." And he tries to stop him.
Yeah, once he's there long enough, he goes against his everything.
Yeah, this is it. This is his reality, is just building this bridge. It's no longer about being a prisoner or not being a prisoner or
Yep.
the British Army or Japanese. He's just like, this is the bridge I just built. So fuck you guys. You're not tearing it down.
Nope.
One thing I thought was interesting and of note to me was I was like, is this where this came from? The part where they're whistling in the beginning when they're all marching?
Yeah. I'm sure that's an old.
I just knew it from the Breakfast Club because they all whistle that at one point.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, why do they all know? What is this song from? It's like this. It probably would have been Bridge on the River Kwai is the only thing that those modern day kids would have known this from.
Mm-hmm.
Because there wasn't really any other reason. It's an old march called the Colonel Bogey March. So it was like an old military tune.
Mm-hmm.
But they did do some changes slightly to it. So I think the melody that they're whistling in Breakfast Club is actually the one from the Bridge on the River Kwai. But the only reason it exists in this movie is because when the extras were marching along, they couldn't keep time in the march. And the director was like, he seemed pretty tyrannical. A lot of the stuff I read about him was yelling at people. And he was like upset at the fact that they couldn't march in time. And he was like, well, have them fucking whistle then if they can't do it. Let's have them march. Can you march to a beat? And so then they all had to whistle, and they chose this song as the song to whistle while they were marching, so that way they could keep time.
I thought it added like an ominous energy to the scene in the beginning.
Yeah. I thought it also...
Are these guys happy? Are they sad? Are they trying to keep the morale up? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it made them seem a little defiant.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. But then they weren't defiant at all. They're like,
yeah, so it did confuse me a little bit, actually, while I was watching it. So like, what were they? Why were they whistling? Just to kill the time, I guess. It's just fun to whistle.
Used to it. I guess we boot camp again.
Yeah. I thought it was a good movie. It was one of those times where this is a long one, and I paused it at one point to go do something, and I was like an hour and a half into it, and I was like, oh shit, I've already watched one movie's worth of this movie. I didn't even notice. It wasn't like I was pausing it because I was like, God, how much longer? I was just thinking, I gotta do something. I thought, oh shit, I thought I would have been a lot more early in the runtime of this movie at this point, but it kind of went fairly quickly. I didn't think it was amazing. I didn't think it was good though. I think really a lot of the production was really great. The filming locations and stuff they used.
I was surprised how good the production value was. You know, like the way, like the cameras and stuff that they use. I was like, for 1957, I expected this to be a lot worse.
That's true. I think that was probably a big part of it, was the spectacle involved in it, because there was a decent amount of that going around. And, we've talked about like South Pacific and stuff like that. A lot of times just shooting the location is so much of what you're doing for these old movies. And this one, it still came in with a lot of script to get around as well. I think everyone was a little bit surprised it did as well as it did even in the production. Obviously, most of the people who were going to sign on didn't want to, and I think the people who actually did do the movie didn't really know if it was going to work out.
All right, well, I guess the last thing to do is to rate the thing.
Let's see. Out of 1,957 man-sized ovens, how many are you going to give this one?
1,542.
That's a good rating. I realized after listening back to a couple recent ones, I'm like, I'm not really good at like gauging how much I actually like numerically, I should be rating these movies. I think I'm like, I don't think this one was that great. 1,500. I'm like, that's like pretty high up actually in the grand scheme of these ratings. So this time I did think this one was a really good movie, and I think I'll give it about 1,600 man-sized ovens.
Okay.
Okay, let's see a couple of the other movies that came out this year and see how many of them we recognize. That's always fun with these older ones. Have you seen any of these prior? And then other than that, are there any that you know? I'll start by saying a couple of the big like Oscar nominees and some of the ones that took home some of the other awards that this one didn't take home. The rest that this one left on the table, which wasn't a whole lot. But you had Witness for the Prosecution, Sayonara was a pretty big one, and the one that I have seen was 12 Angry Men.
I'd never seen that one.
That's a great movie. Basically takes place in the jury room, and that's it. One guy's basically just saying, well, we don't know for sure, and that's what our job is to know for sure. Like, we can't convict a man of murder if we don't know that he did it. That's just, we can't do it. And even though if it doesn't matter if I think he did or not, that's not the question. We have to know for a fact. We have to be indisputably able to prove that. And so everyone else is like ready to give the verdict right away.
So one movie I watched for the preparation of this week is The Black Scorpion. And the reason I watched it is because it was on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay, that name sounded familiar. I started searching around my list. Yes. Yeah, there were a number of these that came out this year. I actually have a list. There was The Amazing Colossal Man, The Undead, Untamed Youth, The Unearthly. It's a lot of stuff. Beginning of the End, that's one I know I've seen for sure. And The Deadly Mantis, which I think I've also seen that one.
I've seen that one before.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I've seen most Mystery Science Theater ones, and I looked it up. There were like 200 episodes of the original show. So
I think we just watched what was available at the time, you know?
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of episodes, but not 200. So. And then also, I Was a Teenage Werewolf. That's probably the most famous one from this year. Not the most famous episode of their show, but the most famous movie that came out that they had lampooned later. That, it's like there's a Cramps song called I Was a Teenage Werewolf and stuff like that. It just kind of was a that's something that people parodied for many, many years. There's the episode of SpongeBob, I Was a Teenage Gary, where SpongeBob starts turning into a snail. So that was a premise that got parodied a lot. They did not tackle the sequel that actually only came out 5 months later. So people always talk about, they're so sequel happy nowadays. And it's like, yeah, well, just look at Sputnik and I Was a Teenage Werewolf, because those came out with sequels right away the same year. There was I Was a Teenage Frankenstein in 1957 as well.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, a ton of them. One science fiction horror-ish movie that I didn't see and I've always really wanted to is The Incredible Shrinking Man. It looks really dope. That's one of those ones, if you look up a trailer for it, you're like, damn, it's wild what they were able to do in the 50s. That you just don't realize they had like that sort of green screen technology and stuff.
Yeah. No, I saw that and I don't think I can find it anywhere, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I don't think it's been on my list for years and it's never streaming anywhere. And it's like, I can't shell out $6 to see a movie I really badly want to see.
One movie I've seen from this year that I watched not long ago, actually, as well, is Old Yeller.
Yeah, it's like the only kind of kids movie I could find that came out this year. And I thought it's by Disney. That's the only real reason it's sort of a kids movie, but it's not. It's pretty hardcore, right?
It is, but it's like a kid's book. Like I read it in friggin' 3rd grade or something. It's not meant for like adults, even though it's like a kind of a dark.
Yeah, just back then kids could handle more. You just had to grow them up real quick. You're like, you don't have time to be sad about shit. Here, read this book. All right, now that's life. Move on.
Yeah, you're gonna go to war soon. Don't worry.
I've never seen Old Yeller, actually. That's another one I know as a parody thing where everyone talks about. The only thing I really know about is at the end he has to shoot the dog because it has rabies. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. But he gets rabies because the dog saves a little boy from a mountain lion. And it's sad because the dog did it saving the boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he did a good deed and now you still have to kill him for it. Like
Dang, yeah, pretty rough. Pretty hardcore stuff to be teaching kids.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I mentioned earlier that there was Jailhouse Rock. There was another movie that kind of was funny that it was like they were like, look, Elvis is making a movie. We're gonna try it ourselves and do something too. There was a movie called Jamboree, and it featured Dick Clark, and then it had Jerry Lee Lewis, Fats Domino, Frankie Avalon, Carl Perkins, along with a bunch of other people. So they were like, if we can't get Elvis in it, we'll put everyone else in this one.
I'm sure people went to see it just for that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it did decently well. What's crazy, it wasn't that well remembered. But I guess we don't really talk about most of these acts too much anymore. Like, you have to be reminiscing about the 50s. You go, remember Fats Domino and Jerry Lee Lewis? You know. Let's take a look and see. Our last thing we got to do this year is pour over our lists of things that happened and decide which event, which album, movie, which sea monkey we're gonna save from 1957 from extinction. Everything else will disappear. You want to keep the plastic flamingo around? Well, you're gonna have to save that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say what I will keep around from 1957 is the Burger King Whopper.
Okay. I am going to save Bye Bye Love by the Everlys.
That's a good one.
I really like that song.
That is a really good one. They're a cool band. I think that if you don't save that, we won't have the Beatles, which I don't think either of us have ever saved anything from. But still, they wouldn't exist.
Other people
without
would appreciate it.
Yeah, they would if they would remember, but they won't. That's whatever. Fuck it. Anyway, well, 1957. There was a lot more that went on this year than I thought. I know from now on, anytime I get a nice big whiff of some chemically substance, I'm gonna think back about I know where that probably started in, and I'll remember 1957, and I think both of us will think the same things to ourselves, which is that we wish we were then.